start with finishing up our first enemy here, which is the electric eel. So the first thing I notice is that he's popping up over here where we can't go because we made our hero stop at 0, 0 on the coordinates. So we don't actually want him to be popping up in areas where we can't get hurt. And right, that would be the X position. We're talking about X from left to right. And he's too far positive on the X. So we're going to bring his limit back to maybe just past 0. If this is, I think, 450 over here and negative 450, half of that would be 225. So we'll make his max like 100. So over here we say go to a position from negative 150 to positive 150. We can drop that back to positive 100. And that'll make it so he's not going so far out in front. And we can actually go a little bit further, maybe negative 200 on the X here. So he can go a little bit further back on the left over here, because our hero can travel all the way in the back. The other thing is he's silent when he comes up. So let's add a sound for when he does appear, and that would be like right when he shows. So let me clean these up real quick because I saw this over here for game over. So we're going to add a sound, and for that we have our 3 tabs: code, costume, sounds. And we're going to add a sound by going down here and hitting the search, choose a sound icon, which is like the little magnifying glass. I like to type in what I'm looking for, so something electric or shock or zap, anything like that. If I don't get that, I'll go to effects, because those are the type of things we're looking for. I think I might have this zing be the electric sound and the teleport be when we get hit, this one. So yeah, that'll be great. So we want the toy zing. So we'll say when he comes up to play the sound until done. The tricky part is that if we just put the sound in there, play sound until done, this will lag out his gliding, his movements. So it pauses him. He zings and then he stops. So instead of saying play until done, you could do start. That's going to be another little issue. See? There you go. Okay. It's a little electric sound. The other thing you can do is, I believe I have 2 costumes. So we can have them switch between those costumes. And we're going to need to code that, that when the distance is greater than 9. Because later we're going to have them be a different enemy. So let's get this started with when the distance is greater than. So I duplicate this. I get rid of everything else, and this is just going to be a costume, setting, a costume script. So let's switch our costume from eel 2, put a weight on it. You know, my go-to for animations is 0.2 seconds, and then we can duplicate this so that he goes back and forth between eel 2 and eel 1. And this needs to be in a forever loop. That way it's telling it to repeatedly do this over and over again. So you can click on this code to activate it. There he goes. Now he's zapping. And you could have the sound repeat here. So it goes zip, 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 and just put it in between. Pretty neat, right? Now we'll go to our hero, and we'll change his sound. Instead of zing, we'll use that warp sound. Effects, make sure you get your filters, go down. It was teleport to. We're going to go to code, and we're going to tell this zing sound to be teleport to. So when you get hit, pretty cool, right? Yeah. And I noticed his ouch costume is pretty quick. Add another switch to ouch. Still pretty quick. You could throw a repeat in here and do it like maybe 3 times. So that added a little bit of more red flashing. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that was a little bit better. Alright, so we've fixed our enemy here, our eel. We've got the sounds, we've got the animations, and we've got our sound for our hero. We'll stop right there and do our next part where we can bring in new enemies. We're going to work our way up to where we get all of our enemies in, and then we will also code our boss fight, as well as more food items. Stay tuned.